Hi, kids. It's been a while. Ryan Almighty coming at you. Well, I've had a first happen to me. Yes, I am reporting live from Facebook jail. Seems to me some people that I voiced my opinion on, some actually pretty shady motherfucking bane, parasitic, bane of human existence, lower than whale shit, murderabilia dealers and their sycophants and groupies took a disliking to me. So what did they do? They went on Facebook and collectively reported everything they could possibly find to report, mostly pictures of the blood cremains portraits I did of Mr. Charlie Manson, which Charlie always evokes a reaction from people, so they knew that that was their best bet, despite the fact that they themselves sell Charlie items and items of anybody that's infamous. They knew that this would possibly cause trouble, and they manipulated the Facebook guidelines, the people of Facebook, who have proven themselves to be, well, I mean, they're based in Northern California, so what's that tell you? They're a bunch of millennials that see Nazis, racists, and rapists everywhere. So anyway, before I get into the whole story as to who did this and why they did it, let me just suggest something to Facebook. You know, why is it that you placate and pacify and entertain the whole idea of anonymous reporting? You know, the least you could do if you're not going to let people face their accusers is automatically block somebody that reports your content. You know, they're not doing anybody a favor. And, you know, granted, I'm sure there are people that genuinely are rats and stool pigeons because they're offended. But the majority are people that have a vendetta against somebody, and it's their way of using Facebook's rules against people they don't like. It's not that they're offended by what's there. If they think something's going to cause somebody's account trouble, they're going to use it. Kind of like that welfare mom that calls CPS on the other welfare mom because they're pissed off over, whatever, welfare moms get pissed at each other for. It's petty bitchcraft. Yes, I'm saying it. Anybody that would use, reporting and doxing and that tactic are cowardly little bitches. And again, why is it Facebook, placates this? I mean, I make it known in my posts, and I post incredibly personal shit. I'll be the first to admit that. I post provocative artwork. Guilty of that, too. I'll say what I think as I think it. I'll call out anybody that I think has done something fucked up, especially if they've wronged me in any way. Guilty as charged, but it's me commenting on things that affect me directly, and sometimes just me spewing whatever's in my head at the time. Isn't that what social media is for? Isn't that what, if somebody subscribes to your page and wants to see what you're thinking, do they want personal shit? I'm obviously not involved with any political, religious group. I'm an artist that comments on what I see around me as I see it. I'm not always right, but I'm not always wrong either. Now, all this came about because a guy, and I'm going to only use first names here, and, I'm not trying to get, these babies trying to report this, saying that I'm bullying them, because that's another catchphrase, the people know how to use, use this type of shit to their advantage. I mean, they could be the biggest shitheel, scumbag, con man, piece of shit on earth, but all they need to do is do a little virtue signal and use whatever the offense du jour of the week is to attack whomever they don't like. Now, this guy, Blizz Dodge, a murderabilia dealer, is who all this is starting with. Now, the guy fucked me over. You're not going to get into it. If you follow my shit, you know what's happened. But as it turns out, I'm not the only one he's fucked over. I had somebody draw attention to a thread where people were coming together, all of which who he swindled, lied to, doxed, threatened. And my tactic is this. What's it matter? The guy's a little like millennial 20-something douchebag. He's just there to be laughed at. The guy wants to thrust himself into the public eye and be a buffoon where I'm going to laugh at it. That's what I do. But obviously this upset him, so he and his merry band of dipshits, including an individual named Trent, who I will get into this in a minute, decided they were offended by me that I dare call them on their bullshit publicly. So what did they do? First off, when all this went down, and this is, again, it's too long of a story to go into what Blizz Dodge actually did, but it's really incidental. He did something shady. Not all that big of a deal, but shady. So I was calling him out on it, as I do, because you know what? I'd rather say something publicly so everybody can hear what I have to say once, right or wrong, debate it with me if you like, than crawl around on my belly like a snake in the grass, starting rumors, perpetuating lies, gaslighting, and all that fun shit. So I was calling him out on this shit, and he has this little. He likes to get minions. Anybody that's in some way weak or needy or wants to be a part of something, he attaches himself to. I mean, he felt me out for tried to use me for blood painting, trying to come up with projects that I could do for him. It's like I ain't doing shit for some little 20-year-old or 20-something-year-old shitheel that fancies himself to be a gangsta rap wannabe, just suburban fucking gangsta wannabe idiot. So of course I did not do it for him. But he likes to groom people. He likes to see what he can get away with. And he found a guy by the name of Trent. Now, I didn't know this at the time. But anyway, when I was going back and forth with Dodge, I saw that Trent was getting involved, playing both sides against the middle. And I remember I posted a thing on there. I ended up blocking him. And I said, it seems that, and I might not get this completely right, but you'll get the gist. The important part will be there. It seems, I said, I don't hate him or anything, but it seems that Blizz Dodge's autistic fanboy is trying to stir the shit pot, and I don't go for those shenanigans. Well, the fact that I called him autistic was something that they could take and run with. So anyway, I blocked him, and then I started coming up in these groups, and this guy Trent, he's using my disability against me and bullying me. First of all, I don't know. I never knew that using the word autistic was a slur of any way, and it was speculative at the point. I didn't know he was diagnosed. I knew the guy was a little off, and there was something going on with him, and he had those characteristics, which is why I said that. Which basically, if anything, I was making an excuse for him for not seeing through Dodge's bullshit. But I noticed that he was, even though he and I had never done any business together, he was posting me in these review groups saying that I was bullying him for his disability and trying to rally up people in the name of politically correctness for me abusing this poor little, challenge kid, which the guy, he's, obviously there's issues there, but he mixes it up with the murderabilia communities, trading, trying to sell. He hangs pictures of child murderers on his wall. I think when you do that, you give up your right to play the PC baby card or the victim card. But, who am I to say? Another tactic that all these people do is they're always the first to say that, well, we believe in victims' rights. We collect murderabilia, and we try to talk anybody that's a victim or related to these people out of artifacts that we can sell at a profit. But we really do care about the victim. Bullshit! You care about yourself, you care about your collection, and you care about your status and your imaginary rank on a mountain of shit. Because really, it's an ugly hobby, it's an ugly business, but it's fun. Hey, I'm involved in it, and I'll be the first to admit I ain't doing it for victims' rights. My heart goes out to them, but that's not why I do. I do it because I like morbid, sick, twisted, and weird. If it was a murder case connected to family or friends of mine, I would absolutely be disgusted by that particular scenario. So granted, I realize that I'm in the pit of snakes. when I'm dealing with this type of shit. I'll be the first to say the worst experience I've ever had, and I've gone through the over my life. I've been in a few viper pits, through the anybody that knows the tattoo piercing community. There's a lot of backbiting and hero worship, gods and clods and witch hunts. Go from that to the whole Manson project, which holy shit, that brings them all to the yard. And then, of course, the murderabilia community in the age of the internet when everybody's connected. So anyway, they take a disliking for me doing, pretty much what I'm doing here. And, of course, try to rally up the troops and go on the full-blown attack of secretly reporting and doxing and shit-talking and all that. Anyway, if anything, I feel sorry for this Trent guy because I know he's being groomed and used by old Blizz Dodge because I know how Blizz Dodge operates. But there ain't much you can do about it if the guy thinks he's getting some kind of validation of importance or his ego's being stroked while being used. But anyway, I noticed there's a secret oddities group, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because this group prides itself on being private and secret. The first thing I noticed is I had some of the Manson prints up in there, and Trent gets on there making some kind of commentary that I would never do business with someone that abuses and bullies the mentally challenged or people with disabilities and this and that and whatever fucking yeah. Well, I mean, they don't go for that. The fact that he was obviously trying to stir the shit pot, his comments got deleted. Well, mysteriously, a few hours later, the post of my Manson shit and some other ones in that group got reported to Facebook. This is a secret group with people that trade oddities, unusual things. How fucking petty and idiotic do you have to be to take something personal and try to fuck up a good thing in a community of people that are that have a hobby that collect the weird and unusual over your own personal fucking ego? That's sad. And I am thoroughly convinced that old Blizz Dodge is using this autistic guy as a human shield and a way to virtue signal. And I mean, another thing that Blizz does is he posts all these politically correct, anti-Trump, anti-this, whatever the common common opinion of his age group to make you seem virtuous. He will put out there, even though he's the first to screw people over, swindle them. He was in a battle, and I'm not going to mention her name, but this young lady who he was threatening with rape. He threatens people with, I'm involved with the Mexican drug cartel, and I'll be sending them after you. I mean, he makes threats of violence. He doxes people. He does this and that. Well, like I said, this is the group of people that went after me and decided that they were going to report everything to do with Manson. And the same thing happened on my Instagram, which I lost my Instagram over. Well, what a shady bitch type of thing to do, I guess you're using what resources you have to go after somebody you don't like. But you know what? Call me out publicly. I ain't going to report your post. I'll go back and forth with you. For the record, I got nothing against this Trent dude until I noticed that he is going out of his way to email people playing the victim card as if I'm on some kind of vendetta to bully this guy. He doesn't mean shit to me, other than the fact that now he's on my radar because he's being used by Dodge and using, some of the things he says to people are really obvious influences of old Blizz's trying to get him to attack and gaslight those that he doesn't like. He doesn't like having the attention drawn to him of all the shady shit that he's done to people. But here's the thing that I found out through all of this. A lot of people are connected through Facebook. He's done a lot of really wacky shit and a lot of really cowardly, shitty things to an awful lot of people. But he gets these people that are kind of weak-minded that want to get, great deals on shit-ass murderabilia items from him and, look at him as a connection. So they overlook how shady and nasty he is. And, there are 3 people that I know connected to him that that he's using, that he's letting sink right on that ship with him. And that would be a guy by the name of, well, that's Trent, who I've talked about. There's a guy named Bradley, and there's a guy named Jeremy. And honestly, Jeremy is worse than Blizz. So the funny thing about those 2 be connected, it's only a countdown, as it's anybody's guess who's going to fuck over the other one next, or first. So anyway, I'm on the radar. So my account on Facebook is now suspended for 7 days, where I can't respond to anybody on Messenger. I can't comment on anything. I can see. I mean, here's the sickest joke that Facebook plays. They make it so you can't respond to Messenger, but you can see what people post. So you have people post and think that you're thinking, sending you messages thinking that they're being ignored, or thinking that your account was hacked. They don't have a clue. I mean, the least Facebook could do is have an automated response saying that this person can't respond to you for whatever reason. But better yet, why do that? Why, what's with the virtue and the banning? I'm obviously an artist. The fact that through people like Blizz and Trent, that they're trying to perpetuate having the audacity to perpetuate that I'm involved in some kind of Manson cult, or using hate speech because I've done artwork that include Manson. Now, it's funny that they would go after, and the powers that be at Facebook would have such an issue with me doing artwork, which is neutral as far as, I have nothing to do with those Atwa groups, the Manson family. And as a matter of fact, most of the people that worship at the altar of Manson, not only did Manson himself have no respect for, I have no respect for. So I'm not involved with any of them. There's people that were friends with Manson that I'm friends with that are great people. There are people that are fascinated with him, people that think he got a raw deal that I am friends with. But these obsessed people that get together in little packs and witch hunts and attack collectively, I got no time for that shit. I think it's pathetic. I think it's silly, and I think they need to get their own lives. But anyway, Dodge has learned how to use the system, or the community guidelines against others, and getting groups to back him up on doing this. Well, I'll tell you, man, I find nothing more loathsome than doxing and shady shit like that. I would rather confront things head on, say what I have to say publicly. Better yet, hash it out in person. But, it's a big world, and the internet makes it, accessibility of anybody to anyone. So there's an awful lot of keyboard warriors out there, and people that like to harass via the internet because they don't have to face the repercussions. Now, again, I find doxing and all that stuff absolutely pathetic. I think that when somebody is known for doing that, when it's done back to them, it's kind of poetic justice, but it's pretty pathetic. But I'm going to say this, because of all this, there's a lot of people that have reached out. There's an awful lot of people looking at, Blizz Dodge and his merry band of dipshits very sideways. He's fucked over a lot of people. He's done a lot of shady shit. Now, I think anybody that knows this Trent guy, and I've actually seen that a few have tried, they need to reach out to him, man. This kid does not need to be used as a human shield by a sociopath piece of shit like Blizz. Blizz is pushing him out in the foreground, having him do the dirty work for him, having him be a mouthpiece because he thinks that people will think, oh, poor little challenge boy. You know what? You act aggressive, Trent, and people are going to react to it. Don't be Blizz Dodge's mouthpiece. Don't be his pawn. Don't be his minion. Because it's going to bite you in the ass, kid. You're in a glass house, and you're on people's radar because you're being his boy. Anybody that's associating with this character, you're on a sinking ship. People are gathering together that he's fucked over, and people are pissed. I'm friends with all of them, because, hey, I've got common ground. The guy's trying to fuck with me. The guy's fucked me over. I just think him as a pathetic douchebag, weirdo. But these people are pissed. You know, he's made threats. He's doxed people. He's tried to attack people's work. You know, them at their workplace. He's threatening them with violence. He's threatening them with rape. He lies. He cheats. He swindles, and it's known. Anybody associated with him, if you actually are willing to go to bat for this guy over getting some Jablonski artwork or whatever the latest school shooter, you know, letter is through him, well, you have at it. If it's worth it to you, do what you're going to do. But, you know, y'all are pathetic. And but anyway, so anybody who wants to know the story as to what happened to my Facebook page, that is it. There's a few mongooses that are being thrown into the snake pit, man. You guys don't want to do this shit. I'm telling you, you're in glass houses. You don't want to be throwing stones. But if you do want to draw attention to me, and you do want to fuck with me, have at it. You know, you definitely got a giant fuck you coming from me. And I see the humor in all this shit. And the one thing I'm learning out of it is you can't depend on Facebook. If you're doing business and you're using them as a resource and a utility, it's something that certain kind of unscrupulous bastards can use against you. So my lesson out of this is I can't depend on Facebook. I can't depend on that being a venue where I can safely vent and do business at the same time, because there are people that will use it against me. But I also know there's an awful lot of people that like what I have to say. They follow my posts. They follow my artwork. They like the fact that I candidly express exactly how I'm feeling, right or wrong, any certain time, at any given, you know, in any given circumstances. And I speak from the heart, and I shoot from the gut. And you know, some people like it. And some people don't like the idea that somebody's trying to stop that from being able to happen. You know, and then there's those that don't care. Well, each their own. But if you watch this far, you know, now you know. But anyway, so I should be back on my original Facebook page by November 20th. I don't know who's going to be messing with it, who's not. I have a private page, but it's only for people that actually know me personally or I've interacted with that I trust. Because, again, snakes in the grass. You know, there's a lot of shady people out there. Watch out for them. You know, it can bite you in the ass. But if you lay with dogs, you're going to get fleas. You know, so it ain't my first rodeo. You know, and you got to laugh. It's like, oh, good for you guys. You end up being a little babies reporting shit, you know, that you obviously aren't actually offended by, being you sell Manson items yourselves. You know, that you've, you know, at one time or another message me, you know, wanting to get Manson items through me, or, you know, fascinated with the artwork. So you're proving yourself to be hypocrites, fools, liars, babies, cowards, and scum. But anyway, see you later, kiddies. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say.